Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. South African fathers are in for a treat as the Inaugural Daddy Awards South Africa take place. Let me take you to our guest who I'll be chatting to just now, who will be giving us a sense of what it all means and why it's so significant for fathers to be celebrated in such a manner. Of course, taking my seat here. Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. I'm joined in studio by Mothopeng, who's the founder of the Daddy Awards South Africa. Daddy Awards South Africa. It sounds new,
yeah,
but interesting. Talk to us about what made you think of such an idea and what impact you were hoping to make.
So I'll just give it to you in brief. I had a relationship with my father which wasn't so great, and upon his passing, and now having my child, it kind of evoked emotion out of me. And I realized how much I missed out on the relationship. And then I thought, and I looked around at where are these fathers that are doing great and are doing awesome things. And I couldn't see them like mostly on our social media spaces or anywhere. But one thing I know for sure is they're definitely out there and they're doing great work. But in society, we're not giving them the light. We're not giving them the recognition to say these people are there versus the narrative that's out there about fathers.
Yeah. And why do you think there's so much bad press around fathers?
You know, there's, for obvious reasons, and some things that contribute to it is the statistics around it. And the obvious reasons, it's something that we're trying to tackle as a movement, you know. So we're saying, let's just take some pressure off our mothers and really come to the fore as fathers and really play an active role, not just being present, but being active in the raising of our kids and growing them throughout their journey in life.
What do you think, as you conceptualized this idea and brainstormed it and really just brought it to life, what were some of the big misconceptions you thought were out there and the myths that you needed to demystify when it comes to the role of fatherhood and what it really entails to become a father?
You know what, I missed something. I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to all the active dads out there.
Yes.
So, yeah. One of the things when we were researching, we found out that from Stats SA, it says about 50% of fathers are absent fathers. And when we look deeper into that stat, we realize that how they define an absent father, it says if you're not home for more than 4 days, you're deemed as absent. Now, you can imagine the connotation that starts to trickle down on that kind of narrative, where you find a lot of, say, black fathers, they are migrant workers. So if you're from the Eastern Cape and now you are in Joburg or you're in a mine in Rustenburg, you can't be home for provisional purposes. But you are active in ways of maybe sending money, phoning the kids, always making sure things are done for them. And when you're home, you're definitely engaged with them. So that stat alone, it gives a bad narrative saying fathers don't want to be there for their kids or fathers have abandoned their kids or their families, which is not true. So those are some of the things we're trying to demystify and say that's not the reality of fathers out there, you know. But there are many others.
Yes,
but there was
many
one
others
example.
Fathers who are simply not interested, where you have so many women-led households where fathers are not present and they're not playing a role, they're not even willing to participate and engage with their children. And that itself, we've seen the outcomes when it comes to societal dynamics. So
to what you're saying, our movement is not about bashing or looking down or bad on fathers who obviously have missed an opportunity to be engaged fathers, but we're trying to encourage them, and that's the purpose of these awards. We're trying to encourage them and bring them to the fore in saying these are the great fathers who are doing great. Let's all rally together and use them as a beacon of hope for all of us and try and rehabilitate our relationships with our kids, with our spouses, with the mother of our kids, and within family and society, you know, needs to see us differently. So it also helps in that way to rehabilitate those who have kind of fallen off, if I may put it like that.
So what are the categories? If a father is going to go up and be proud of their award, what are some of the categories? So
our categories are informed by research. A lot of research has gone into this. So there's obviously Daddy of the Year award, which is legible for everyone. So I think anyone who is nominated is definitely Daddy of the Year because it means they've been doing great for their family. And the other thing is you can't nominate yourself. You can't stand up and say, hey, I'm Daddy of the Year, and we're like, dude, who says that? So your family needs to be the ones who have felt you, have experienced you, and say, you know what, my dad has done the best. And when we're saying dad, we're not only talking biological fathers. We're talking to non-biological. We're talking to your uncle. We're talking the tatoko next door, you know, malume. Father figures, you know, we're broadening out here, non-traditional and traditional fathers. So that's what we are looking at. And then our category, one of them is unemployed dad of the year. That's based from the stats we've seen that their fathers are unemployed, but they're very active with their kids.
And that's important.
Yeah.
That's really important because you hear a lot of stories, fathers saying, I can't see the kids, I have no money, what will the children think of me?
So you see, that's what the beauty of this movement is going to do. It's going to bring those fathers who are already doing that under those circumstances and really encourage those who feel despondent and that they can't get active or involved in their kids' life due to financial provision. But it's not the case, you know. Time is very important, and the resources that you can provide are quite important to you as a father, trickling it down to your kids. And then there's a single dad of the year, which we know there are single dad households that are being ran by fathers. There's also dads with special needs. There's also non-resident father of the year, or non-resident dad of the year. Yeah.
What would that be about?
To what I explained to you earlier, that you might be living somewhere else outside of your home. Maybe you work in a place where Monday you have to leave your house, be back on Friday. But based on stats from Stats SA, when they actually ask the family, when has dad been here the last time, you can say, no, it's been a week. Then they'll record him as absent. But dad comes home Friday evening due to his work commitments that make him travel for the week. But when he's there throughout the weekend, he's active, he's engaged, he makes sure that he can do what he can with the time and the resources that he has.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that we're looking at fatherhood. We're not looking at it in a singular, but we're being more inclusive and more accepting of situations and circumstances. Yeah.
So when it comes to perhaps some of the heartwarming stories you've heard and perhaps the reasons why someone's dad would be put up as dad of the year, what are some of the compelling descriptions that really stand out for you when someone says, my father has done this and this and this, and you know, that then results in the man being given an award?
I'll explain the award, but there's already the nominations are out, so you can go on www.Daddy Awards South Africa, and then you can go into a competition page and nominate your dad. So we've been seeing nominations coming through, and it's such heartwarming stories where there's a single dad who's not working, and he's raising 2 girls, and when I read the bio of what this dad has been doing for the kids, and he's not asking support from other people. He said he wants to manage and make sure that he can provide for these kids and be able to be active and physically do what needs to be done on a daily. So those are the dads that we want to see come to the forefront, that we can build this museum of great dads or active dads that we can all see and mimic and try and engage our families in a similar manner, you know. And what I love about this is we're not looking for perfect fathers. We're looking for fathers who are doing their best every day with the resources they have, you know.
Yeah, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
And very lastly, before we let you go, when it comes to perhaps some words of encouragement to fathers who may be sitting there and thinking, perhaps on the barometer, I'm not such a great dad after all. It's never too late.
You know, it's never too late. I'm talking to the dad Kokasi, Oplomeng, Aspani. I'm saying to him, Autiaka, you can also be active, or speak to the mother of your child. If you're not together, ask how can you help? How can you be involved? What can you do to help support her in raising this child? And give your child time as well. You know, you've got an hour in a day, you've got 2 or 3. Make sure you put them in your to-do list as a priority. And this goes across any father. No matter how busy you are, you're a CEO, well, you've got that little time. Use that time as a to-do list for your child on a daily to say, how's your day been? What can I do? How can I help? And you'll end up knowing and understanding your child better. And we end up raising sound kids in society where kids don't grow up and say, my dad was this, my dad was that, I never knew him. But financially, you are providing. But activism is what's important for us, and that's our purpose with this movement.
So this wasn't my last question.
Okay.
And this one will, in fact, be my last question.
Yeah.
The role of the partner, be it the mother, how important is it, and how does it filter in to the message and the narrative that you're trying to drive when it comes to being a good dad, because I mean you can be a great dad and not speak so much or so well of the mother, and that in itself could have a very ripple effect on the relationship with the children.
So I think with this, what I mentioned is what we're trying to do is we're obviously focusing primarily on the father and child, but I've seen in certain instances when you start nourishing that relationship, it also changes you as a person. It changes you as a man. And over time, that will start spilling over into your relationship with your immediate partner, with your family, with your spouses, whoever you are within that community. So we're trying to rehabilitate, and we want to tackle issues just beyond the fatherhood, issues with our partners, issues of GBV, issues of... So it's beyond just that singular entry point.
Yeah.
But we're obviously focusing on saying, fathers and children, how do we make sure that relationship is really nourished? And when that starts to thrive, we start to see it spilling over into the relationships of the mother or the partner. So
brilliant.
It's definitely going to help to rehabilitate those relationships.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Now, thank you so much for coming in studio. I hope you don't rig the system and nominate yourself for Dad of the Year. But thank you for your time. Of
it's
course,
a pleasure.
We leave it there with Mothopeng, who is founder of the Daddy Awards South Africa, speaking about the importance of fatherhood and nurturing fathers.